Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another episode of the Yakking Show. And we have two channels. We bring you wisdom for business and we bring you tips and ideas on your path to wholeness with our Harmony channel. And today we have a guest who straddles both of those channels. But first, let me introduce co-host Kathleen Beauvais, and she will introduce our guest of the day. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter. Thank you. And thank you all so very much for tuning into our show. We so appreciate having you. And as Peter mentioned, we have a return guest. It's our great privilege to welcome back Robert Wilson to the show. Hello, Robert. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I want to thank Kathleen and Peter. It's always an honor and privilege to be on this show. We get to express and exchange wisdom.
Yep.
That's wonderful. Now, just to recap for our audience, those of you who haven't seen our previous shows with Robert Wilson, and I really urge you to go and take a look at those. Robert is the founder of Cowboy Wisdom. This is a company that provides coaching. Robert is also a motivational speaker and facilitator. He performs hypnoacuity, which is a form of hypnotherapy that helps to quiet your mind. So let's just jump right in. Robert, you mentioned on your website that we are robots to our subconscious minds. Explain what that means. What do you mean by that?
Well, the outside world does something, and then you react. It's to the subconscious mind. And something I've really expanded into in business and in personal life, your subconscious mind goes back to the beginning of time. It's like a hand-me-down shirt. And you want to know why the world is still living the same way? We're still living our ancestors' survival mode thinking. And they say you can never change the subconscious. That's a lie. All you got to do is do some imaging, but the real thing is changing your verbiage, the words you use. Like change, heal, create, transformation, forgiveness. You're trying to change with your subconscious mind active, because all of them have memories and representations that are of the situation, and whatever that situation is, the words, the images, emotions, that intensity is coming out right then. And I got a show coming out called Unplug the Subconscious Mind, and all you got to do is unplug it. And it really is understanding your subconscious mind makes you a robot. Then, because we also allow the outside world to control us, so the outside world pushes a button, the subconscious mind does whatever it does, then we're reacting to the situation the same way. And when somebody says he's acting like a 2-year-old, well, he is. Because that's the year and the age the subconscious mind imprinted that, and you're going to react to it the same way. And I was a professional at that. And a lot of people get that from their parents. I did. 100% got it from my parents. And you really have to open up to admit that you've got your parents' DNA, your parents' behaviors, thoughts, and everything within you, even though you don't think you do cut it in the subconscious. And when you can admit it, you can begin to get rid of it. And that's the thing about life. If you can admit to it, you can get rid of it. And that's something that there's a few steps here, a few things. I call it the fluid motion. Admit that you encompass it. Appreciate the situations so you get the wisdom out of it. Then everything in life, all the challenges, chaos, and adversity, and all the negative stuff in the world never exists because it's awakening. Everything is an awakening. Then you appreciate it to take the deal out. And here's the key to life. You listen to grasp the clarity of wisdom and insight inside the situations. That illuminates you. Then you stroll onto the path of enlightenment, opening up. Instead of trying to know yourself, you want to understand yourself.
Right.
Understand me, be free. Then it's comprehending accomplishments.
But I got to jump in here, Robert. Some of what we inherit from our parents is good. I mean, we inherit some good values like courage, work ethic, duty, loyalty, compassion. So we don't want to throw those out with the bad ones, do we?
No, but I mean, you'll understand the ones you want to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And because the good ones, you never have to work, you never have to do anything with them because they're just natural.
Right.
It's the ones that throw you into the trauma, the drama, and the turmoil, and all that. This is only about getting rid of the drama and trauma. And I'm grateful for my parents, but it's admitting you got some of everything about them, the good, bad, and the indifferent. That's a good thing to bring up. But for me, my dad and mom used to just get angry. And the words your parents use when you're from the womb to 5 years old, that's your subconscious. That's all ingrained in your subconscious mind because your subconscious mind operated your life from the womb to 5 years old and up to 12 years old. So, and when I opened up to that, they liberated me from me.
Right.
So some of the traits or some of the behaviors or values that go back generations, we're talking great-grandparents. You're saying that a lot of that is in the DNA that makes you who you are today.
Yes.
On the subconscious level.
Yeah, because that's all fluid energy. See, the subconscious is energy. Right. And that's something we have to really open up to as we are flowing energy. We're not this and that. And something else, you can listen your way to the penthouse. You're going to talk, think, and know your way to the outhouse. And I've done that many a time.
So Robert, you, as you just demonstrated earlier about, unplugging from all of that, unplugging from your subconscious mind, it sounds easier than it is. How does one go about doing that exactly?
Trial and error. Trial and error. Okay. Life is a trial and error, but you really have to open up to admit it. You're not going to do it the first time. You're going to have to, and as once you start unplugging it and you start realizing the outside world is innocent, that's the key to this. The outside world doesn't do anything to you. Once that event, encounter, and experience is over, that's 100% that's yours because it's all a subconscious mind memory. And that's when you have to really open up to admit it and appreciate it. Take forgiveness out of your life. Say forgiveness and say appreciation. Which one gives you the liberation?
You don't. Oh, well. So you're saying take forgiveness out of your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And replace it with
appreciation.
Appreciation.
Say forgiveness, say appreciation, see what you feel. You're going to feel what you feel. There's nobody can tell you what to do on that.
Okay. So if somebody's wronged you and you're trying to forgive, you're saying just appreciate. That's a hard thing to do.
But once you do it, you'll do it for the rest of your life. But you want to appreciate the situation. You want to appreciate, because a lot of times when you think somebody did something wrong to you, you step back when you wanted to step forward. I know I have done. But you start appreciating it, and then you question it. What am I apprehensive about? Why did this event occur for me to expand? Where's the wisdom? Where do I rise out of this situation? That's a key word now for me, is I rise out of the situation. You want to get the value, and the more you rise, and the more they ain't in control of your life, and they'll know when you cut them loose through the energy, they're the ones that are going to go, they're the one that's going to end up wondering what happened.
So is that like seeing the silver lining in various situations, as adverse situations? You're just trying to make see the good of it, really. You're
getting the wisdom out of it.
Right. Sure.
See, there's wisdom in the situation, but you also get to witness your own sovereign valor. Because that's what appreciation does, is unleashes your sovereign valor. Rather courage, it's your sovereign valor. Because when you let go on something else, I'll do here and I'll do it now. Say self out loud, and then say sovereign, and see which one you like better.
Sovereign means
Sovereign.
Uncontrolled by outside sources.
right. Exactly.
Right. So a lot of what you're saying is what the Stoic philosophers were also talking about 2,000 years ago, right?
Yeah, we weren't smart enough to listen.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. I
ain't
read.
kidding you. If you listen for the situations in your life and you question them with open-ended, any question you want, just make it up, but make it open-ended and forward moving. You're going to be surprised how quick you can liberate from the situation. But it's a simple sentence to live, because everything you're trying to expand out of in the physical world is inside you.
Sure, I agree.
And go ahead.
No, part of my daily reading is from this book. It's called The Daily Stoic, which is written by Ryan Holiday, prolific author, but it's the meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living from the Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, and it's a daily tip. And what comes through there is exactly what you're saying: is look at the situation and don't let it control you. And it goes on, but we don't want to talk about that all the time. So I interrupted you. Carry on, Robert. What you were saying?
I get it. It's a simple. It's about a 12-word saying. Arise out of yesterday, expand of today, energize the wisdom for me to enterprise, my dreamer's dexterity to experience my life aright. But it goes like the one that worked for me is, I liberate me from me, my viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, childhood, parents, and ancestor anchored survival mode thinking. But it comes down to, I liberate me from me. That's all this is about. Right. If you can open up to admit to yourself that you're trying to liberate from is yourself. And a lot of that has to do, because we've been educated by outside sources and way back that the outside world, I got to get even. Well, that event is not that event was an awakening for you to expand. Life occurs for me to expand. And something else, people wake up wanting a better life, but they start complaining about yesterday before they open their eyes. And then yesterday comes today. But something you might want to open up to is, like, my first words out of my mouth in the morning, I'm sovereign, astonishing, and accomplished.
Okay. Let's pick up something else you have in your video that we were watching before. We're a robot to the education system. I know you've spoken a little bit about it. Expand on that one.
You're going to think and know your way to yesterday. Because the education system is what outside sources want you to know, think, and learn. And it's going to put you in the box. But the education system is from outside sources. And your intuition, imagination. But if you look at the world, education and business has this world gone sideways and raised as high as it can go. The business and education will never raise this world any higher, any out of where it's at, because we're using the same thinking, memory, minds that got us into it to try to get us out of it. And if you watch the leaders of the world, they're clueless. But the wisdom
I agree with you there.
But the wisdom to expand us out of it is in the people.
Yes.
Everybody has a unique talent. Everybody's got a book, a gadget, something that's going to rise the world. And see, here's for me, what is a business? Business is a name on a sheet of paper in a file cabinet. That's all it is. And a degree is a sheet of paper with your name on it hanging on the wall or in a file cabinet. There's zero communication in them. And see, the thing is, and if you watch the world, I observe the world from a different, a veracity. I don't want to lie to myself, but if you look at people, they say they have a business. Well, that business is in a file cabinet. And if you watch what they say, they're in that file cabinet. And they want you in that file cabinet with them.
Right.
And then they use their education, and that's in a box, and then they want you to call in that box. Well, when you rise to liberation and in your end of your intuition, you're going to rise out of that box, and then you're going to see how manipulated you were.
Absolutely. Is that why you say imagination, innovation, intuition, wisdom, and inspiration, if I didn't say that one already, will expand you, not education? And when we say education, we mean formal education, right?
Formal education is like a backstop in baseball. They won't let the ball get away, but you can't get away from it either.
Right.
But
Robert, we need some formal education, especially in the sciences and engineering. People need to learn skills that they very often need to learn from another expert. They can't pick it all up on their own, right?
Well, you want to know what's the best science in the world? Spirit. Spirit celebrates. Okay. See, so they're starting to do this. A lot of scientists are starting to understand the spirit and science go hand in hand. And yes, we do need science. But here's the thing about science and the experiment. You can tell how any experiment or science project is going to come out these days. You look to see who's paying for it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Then you get down. But individual liberated scientists are more needed than anything, are more required. Mm-hmm. But it isn't the ones that fit inside the box in the file cabinet. That's what we're saying. But, you know, if you listen to your spirit, you're going to be surprised what you can understand.
I agree, but I'm going to push this one, because if you live on the other side of a canyon and you want an engineer to build a bridge so you don't have to take a 50-mile detour to get to your house, right? And you want to put a bridge across the canyon, you are going to choose an engineer that you are pretty confident is qualified to design that bridge, right? And then and construct it. You're not going to choose someone who says, yes, I believe I can do it, and this is why, but I've got no qualifications.
That's absolutely true. I was working on a city center in Las Vegas, and they had a Harmon Tower that was supposed to go 64 floors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the contractor used good enough steel, they had to stop it at 23 because they was afraid it was going to fall down.
Really?
Yeah, see, that's the thing about everything. If we run it, back in the 60s, 70s, that would have never happened. And I agree with you. If you're going to build a bridge, you want to hire somebody. But here's the thing, what's going on? And see, but what I'm saying is in your day-to-day life, Peter.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand you. Yeah, but there's got to be
with what you're saying. But if you look and talk to people, I'm a union electrician. I've had higher quality conversations in a break room than I've had in the last 2 years with some college educated people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can believe that for sure.
It isn't the education. It's realizing what the education is, a camouflage limitation and unrealized apathy. Because we've actually become kind of apathetic about it. But education is what somebody else wants you to know, the teacher told you to do, and then we're about, like history, we're 500-600 years removed from it. So if I wrote it, they changed 5 words on a page, or they changed words, we never got the meaning of it. And one thing history missed the boat, is they tell us about the misery of history. They never let us understand the wisdom of history. Mm-hmm. If we understood the wisdom of history, we'd never be in this situation today.
That's right. That's right. No, you're right. Yes. You're right. Yeah. So let's move on to another one that I like of what you talk about, and that's how do you diffuse anger and frustration by using a mantra? And I know you talk a lot about this. So tell our audience a little bit more about that.
You want to dissolve anger, you listen. But it's really about, it's not only getting rid of the anger, but it's understanding your anger is a habit sabotage from your subconscious mind, because you used it to be safe. But if you really open up to understand listening will shed and shred trauma, drama, anxiety, and all that. And it's really about speaking from inspiration. That'll dissolve the desperation of anger. And if you start speaking from inspiration and stop talking about what happened yesterday, you start speaking to the world about your dreams, where you're going, and really get a flowing, I call it the liberating lingo of I chime the rhyme, and rhymes also do that. But it's really understanding the only one that you're making mad and the only one that gets you angry is yourself.
Yep.
And that's it. And see, for me, I've overcome it by admitting I got it from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started understanding, if I wake up in the morning bitching and complaining, I'm going to be angry all day.
True.
Yep.
True.
But here's a question for you. Here's a question for you. And I have a personal reason and an example of this. Don't you believe that in certain situations, anger can be beneficial, can actually help you? And let me tell you why I say that is when I was in a very bad situation in Zimbabwe, locked up in a police cell for no fault of my own, when they took our farms away, I used anger to avoid being afraid. So I found being angry and feeding that anger kept me from being afraid. It nearly got me into more serious trouble, I will admit, but that was my way of coping.
That's more of a sovereign valor than anger.
Perhaps you're right. Yeah.
I mean, you got to have the forthright fortitude, the intestinal fortitude. I mean, you ain't going to let somebody walk up and do something to you without standing up for yourself. What I'm saying is, it's getting mad at the stuff that has nothing to do with getting mad about.
Okay, I'm with you.
But I mean, when you get pushed in a corner, your intestinal fortitude will save you.
Yep.
You can't.
Yes.
No, I've written this and I said this. The best way to handle egotistical arrogance sometimes a punch in the nose and a black eye. That takes care of it every time.
Well, absolutely, and I'll use that point that when I went to school 50 years ago, bullying wasn't a big problem because sooner or later the bully would try and bully someone who wasn't going to be bullied, and he would get exactly that blood nose and the black eye, and that was it. End of problem.
Yeah, and something else I really want people to understand: the business world mindset goes back to the beginning of time because we still have an enslaving, oppressive mindset. We think we own and control people.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So you talk a lot, Robert, about giving yourself permission. Permission for what exactly? And again, how do you do that?
To say, I give myself permission to rise. I give myself permission to rise above my parents. I give myself permission to be wealthy. I give myself permission to be healthy. I give me and my subconscious mind to be calm, cool, and listen for the clarity. Give yourself permission for everything. Whatever you want, give yourself permission.
And that goes a long way to changing your mindset, isn't it? So we might want something, we might desire something, but until we say it out loud, until we just it almost like a mantra, it doesn't seem.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I took the word mind and mindset out of my life.
Okay.
Because when you say mind and mindset, you go into memory. Okay. And mindset makes you rigid. But I color the scenarios of my outcomes. I color my subconscious scenery of my desired outcomes and shining my electro scenarios of my dreams. If you use scenery instead of mind, it takes a rigid out of it. Because as soon as you say you're going into a memory. Because it's looking for something to do and it wants to find something. Usually it doesn't find the right thing.
Right.
Mindset makes you rigid. And something I really come up with today, the best mindset is listen. Gives you the flexibility and maneuverability to expand through life. If you look at the world today, we're stuck in our ancestors' mindsets.
Right.
So let's work on an example here for a minute, Robert. A lot of people come from a place of scarcity. It's part of their DNA, right? It's just the way that they were brought up, and it's just part of who they are. And so they don't think they don't think they're worthy enough of making abundance or creating abundance in their lives. So how would they go about breaking through that? And I'm not
You
going to
know,
say mindset, but I almost did.
well, it's the same thing. It is a poverty conscious mindset.
Okay.
And
So-
see, that comes from, like, my parents had it. That's a parent inherited DNA. Because we had it, and it's how did your parents talk about it?
Mhm.
And it's opening up to understand money isn't anything more than an energy and a frequency for and a flow. It's subconsciously ingrained, and you really have to open up to yourself. A lot of times this is where hypnotherapy comes in, but you give yourself permission to be wealthy. That's where it begins. And then comes out the P&P, the most expensive therapy there is. Pen and paper.
No, pen and paper.
But you would be surprised how you can shed and shred all the gunk in you. But ask yourself, why am I afraid of money? Why am I afraid of wealth? And why do I get afraid of lack? Because you look at the world, the only lack there is of your inability. And a lot of that comes down, they don't trust their abilities and agility. And a lot of them come from a place where, like for me, I wasn't the best in school, and the teacher always compared you to the higher up or the better student. That's a scar you carry for life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So
it's admitting
Robert,
we encompass it.
Right.
We're running out of time, and I want to ask you in a minute about your show. But before we do that, what are the types of people who would benefit most from working with you?
Everybody. I've decided
Everybody.
that
Okay.
because pure liberation is a wide awake meditation to understand your free flowing energy. See, that's the biggest thing everybody has to open up to, is their free flowing energy, because inspiration, innovation is flowing energy. Wisdom.
Okay.
The only thing that locks and blocks you is your thinking knowing, because that is a set pattern. But it's a free flowing, understanding your free flowing energy, and about opening up to understand you encompass the talent, but are you willing to let go of your thinking, know, and memory mind?
Okay.
Because everything you think and know and learn in school and knowledge is yesterday, and it's a limitation today.
Right.
Everything is a limitation. And even after you have that big breakthrough and you're all proud of it, well, in 3 hours, it's a limitation.
It's a limitation. Yeah, right.
And if you can open up to admit the only limitation I have in my life is me. Everybody's their own.
Before we go back to Kathleen, tell our audience a little bit about your new TV show, Pure Liberation. What can you tell us about that?
It's getting ready to launch in the middle of August, but it's Pure Liberation Television, and it's about stop healing the past and liberate the now.
Okay. And do you have guests on that, or is it? What do you do?
Well, right now I'm going to do guests, but I want to make sure it launches before I start doing it.
Okay. Good.
I want to launch, and I'd like to have you two as guests.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, thank you very much. That would be great. Yeah, that would be good. No, we'll be looking out for that for sure.
Yes.
So, and it's called Pure Liberation Television. So if we Google it, we'll find it.
And I'm going to give everybody, if you use liberation over heal, appreciation over forgiveness, expand over create, energize over transformation, and innovation over create, takes the thinking memory mind out of it, and it comes here. I only use words I feel here.
Right. Okay. Very good. Kathleen, back to you.
Well, Robert, how do people contact you?
It's mycowboywisdom.com, and my email is robert@mycowboywisdom.com. And I sent you guys some downloads you can put on there, and your readers are free to go download.
We will do.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We will do.
And I want to, if we got a second, I'd like to, I don't punctuate my writings. And the reason is, when you read a punctuated book, you're trying to subconsciously imitate that author. When you imitate something, you deepen insecurities in yourself. Because you're looking outside of yourself for everything. And the reason I unpunctuated my writings is is when you read it, you get to discover yourself.
Interesting. Very interesting. I must look at some more. And just a quick one for our audio listeners. The details that Robert's been talking about, how to contact him, and some downloads will all be in the description on whatever platform you are listening to this on.
Excellent.
So thank you from me. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you so much, Robert. It's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you. It's my honor and privilege.
Oh, thank you so much, Robert.
That's great.
And thank you all once again for tuning into our show. And if anyone is interested in being a guest on our show, we invite you to visit our website at theyakkingshow.com. All you need to do is click on the contacts tab where you will find a short application form, and we would love to hear from you. So until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.